Every month, millions of Americans hand over $2,000 or more just to keep a roof over their heads. Rent, utilities, water, internet, and it's climbing every year. Meanwhile, people who lost everything and ended up living in a van, homeless by every definition the government keeps, figured out how to run their entire lives, housing, heat, food, and power, on a few $100s a month, not because they're clever hobbyists, because they had no choice. Today, I'm walking you through 7 of their cost-cutting hacks, exactly how each one works and what it saves, and then 5 mistakes that quietly bleed van dwellers dry. And pay attention when we get there, because mistake number 4 has cost people their entire home in a single afternoon. Now, same rule as always on this channel. We learn from the people who had to make it work. When a man has been living in a minivan on a small social security check for 2 years, he knows more about stretching a dollar than any van life influencer with a $70,000 Sprinter build. So let's start with the biggest expense of all. Hack number 1. Master the markdown hour. Food is where most van dwellers hemorrhage money, and it's where the experienced ones save the most. Every grocery store in America marks down meat, bread, and produce that's approaching its sell-by date, and every store does it on a schedule. The yellow and orange discount stickers usually go on early in the morning or late in the evening, and people living in vehicles learn their local store's rhythm the way a fisherman learns the tide. Ground beef at half price. A rotisserie chicken marked down to $3 after 8 at night, which turns into 3 separate meals. Day-old bakery racks where a loaf of bread costs 75 cents. One retired trucker living in his van told a forum full of newcomers that he hadn't paid full price for meat in 4 years. And when the stickers aren't enough, there's no shame in the food bank. Food banks exist for exactly this situation. Most don't ask for proof of anything, and the folks volunteering there would rather you eat than struggle. Hack number 2, stop paying for water. This one sounds small until you add it up. A person buying bottled water at gas stations spends $60 to $90 a month without ever noticing. People who live in vehicles almost never buy bottled water. They run what you might call a water circuit. Most grocery stores have a purified water refill machine near the entrance that fills a 1-gallon jug for around 25 to 50 cents. Many gas stations will let you fill a jug from the spigot if you ask, especially if you're buying fuel anyway. City parks have drinking fountains and spigots. Some folks even map natural springs, and there are free websites that list tested roadside springs across the country where the water is cold, clean, and completely free. The standard setup is 2 or 3 sturdy 7-gallon blue water containers from any big box store, about $15 each, refilled once or twice a week on the same trip as groceries. Water for drinking, cooking, washing dishes, and brushing teeth, all for a couple dollars a month instead of $100. The next bill, though, is the one most folks our age have been overpaying for 20 years without ever knowing it. Hack number 3, cut the phone bill to $15. A phone in a van is your map, your bank, your job applications, and your lifeline in an emergency. But the big carriers charge $80 to $100 a month for service. And here's what most people over 50 were never told. The budget carriers run on the exact same cell towers. The same towers. Companies like Mint, Visible, and a half dozen others lease space on the big networks and sell it for $15 to $25 a month. Same coverage, same signal, a quarter of the price. Van dwellers take it a step further. They treat the public library as their internet provider. Free Wi-Fi, warm building, comfortable chairs, and nobody rushes you out. And that library card, by the way, is free. And it comes with heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. Hack number 4, park more, drive less. Now we get to the expense that surprises every newcomer. In van life, fuel is your rent. A full-size van getting 15 miles to the gallon, driven aimlessly every day the way excited beginners do, can burn $500 or $600 of gas in a month. That's apartment money. The people who've survived years on the road all converge on the same solution, and they call it the base camp strategy. Instead of driving somewhere new every day, they pick one good area, a town with a library, a cheap grocery store, and safe overnight parking, and they stay put for a week or two. The van moves maybe twice a week. Some folks park the van for days at a time and get around on a $50 used bicycle from a thrift store, which costs nothing to run and keeps a retired body moving. Slower travel is the entire secret. Hack number 5, never pay to sleep. Campgrounds charge $35 to $60 a night now. Do that nightly and you've reinvented rent, except with worse plumbing. Experienced van dwellers almost never pay to park, because America is full of free, legal places to spend the night if you know where to look. Out west, the Bureau of Land Management and the National Forest offer millions of acres where you can camp free for up to 14 days at a stretch. High desert outside Arizona towns, forest roads in Colorado, wide open country where nobody will ever knock on your window. A $10 a month gym membership, the kind with locations in every town, means a hot shower and a clean bathroom no matter where you parked the night before. If practical knowledge like this is something you'd rather have on hand and never need, take a second and hit subscribe. There's a new one of these every single week. Now, this next one matters most in winter because it takes the expense that scares people the most and cuts it to zero. Hack number 6, heat the body, not the box. New van dwellers panic about winter and start pricing diesel heaters, and by the time they've added the fuel, the install, and the battery to run the fan, they're staring at $400 or $500 before the first cold night even arrives. The veterans skip all of it because they've learned something the hard way. Warming the air inside a metal box is a fight you lose all night long. Warming the sleeper is a fight you win once and never fight again. Start underneath, because a mattress sitting on a bare van floor bleeds warmth downward for 8 straight hours. A cheap foam pad or a folded moving blanket between the mattress and the metal changes the whole night. Then hit the thrift store and buy every wool blanket on the rack, usually $3 or $4 a piece because wool keeps working even after a damp night and cotton quits the moment it gets wet. The top layer is a thermal shell, and the one I use is the Terra shell. It's an emergency sleeping bag with a thin metallic lining that bounces your own warmth straight back down at you, so nothing your body produces gets wasted heating the ceiling. There's no fuel bill attached to it, no cord to plug in, and no part that can quit on you at 2 in the morning. It folds down to about the size of a sandwich. For a van dweller, it means the winter heating budget simply never gets created. You sleep warm on the same calories you were burning anyway. The link is in the description, and it costs less than 2 nights at a campground. Hack number 7, become your own mechanic. This is the one that separates the people who make it from the people who don't. Because when your vehicle is your home, a repair bill is a housing crisis. Shop labor runs $150 an hour or more now, and van dwellers on fixed incomes simply cannot pay it, so they learn. And here's the honest truth that surprises people our age. Most routine vehicle maintenance is easier than assembling furniture, and there is a free video tutorial for every single job on every single engine ever made. An oil change costs $90 at a shop and about $30 in parts if you do it yourself in a parking lot with a $10 wrench set. Brake pads, a $350 job, cost $40 in parts and an afternoon. Air filters, spark plugs, belts, batteries, all of it is watch one video, buy one part, turn some bolts. Because the road stops being scary when you know you can fix what breaks. Figure $500 to $1,000 a year saved. And more than that in peace of mind. So there are your 7 hacks. Cheap food, free water, a $15 phone, a parked van, free ground to sleep on, a bed that heats itself, and hands that can turn a wrench. Stack them together, and a life that costs strangers $3,000 a month runs on $600 or $700. But saving money is only half of this. The other half is not losing it. Mistake number 1, the convenience store diet. It sneaks up on everyone. You're parked at a gas station anyway, so it's a coffee here, a sandwich there, a bag of chips, a hot dog off the rollers. $8 a stop, 3 stops a day, and suddenly a person with no rent is spending $700 a month eating worse than a college student. The folks who've been out there for years treat gas station food the way they treat casinos. You can walk in, but your wallet stays in your pocket. The camp stove, the cooler, and the markdown rack from hack number one exist precisely so that hunger never makes your financial decisions for you. Cook once, eat twice, and keep a thermos of coffee in the van so the gas station never sells you a $2 cup again. Mistake number two, the gear trap. Open any van life video and you'll see it. The $1,200 power station, the $400 fridge, the $800 diesel heater, all presented like requirements. New folks drain their savings outfitting a van like a spaceship before they've spent a single night in it. The people who were forced into this life started with a sleeping bag and a cooler, and they upgraded one item at a time, used as real needs revealed themselves. Mistake number three, ignoring the small warning signs. That little squeal from the brakes, the check engine light everybody jokes about, the slow drip of oil on the pavement where you parked. In a house, procrastination costs you nothing. In a vehicle you live in, every small problem is a big problem with a head start. A $40 set of brake pads ignored for 2 months becomes a $400 rotor job. A $5 radiator hose becomes a cooked engine, and a cooked engine means the home doesn't move anymore. Veterans walk around their vehicle once a week the way a ship's captain inspects the hull, checking tires, fluids, and lights, because out here, the van is the foundation under everything else. Which brings us to the mistake I warned you about at the start, the one that takes homes. Mistake number four, letting tickets pile up until the tow truck comes. This is the one that has ended more van lives than any breakdown ever has. It starts small. A parking citation on the windshield, $40, and money's tight, so it waits. Then another one. Then the late fees double them. And in most cities, somewhere between 3 and 5 unpaid citations puts your vehicle on the tow list. Then one afternoon you walk out of the library and there's an empty space where your entire life used to be. Your home, your bed, your clothes, your documents, everything, sitting in an impound lot charging $50 to $75 a day in storage fees on top of the tow charge and the tickets. For a person on a fixed income, that bill becomes unpayable within a week, and the lot auctions the vehicle. People have gone from housed to sleeping on a sidewalk in one afternoon over what began as $40. The rule the veterans live by is absolute. A parking ticket gets paid before food. Move the van for street cleaning. Read every sign twice. Because in this life, a ticket isn't a fine. It's a threat to the roof over your head, and it never, ever gets to wait. And if you know somebody living in their car right now, pass along that one sentence. The ticket gets paid before the groceries. It sounds harsh, and it keeps a roof over their head. Mistake number 5, letting the paperwork lapse. Registration, insurance, a driver's license renewal. It feels like something you can slide on when nobody's mailing address works right and money's short. It's not. Expired tags are a magnet for exactly the police attention a person sleeping in a vehicle least wants, and one traffic stop with lapsed insurance can cascade into fines, a suspended license, and an impound, which we just established is the end of everything. The fix costs less than people fear. Liability-only insurance on an older van can run under $50 a month, especially for careful older drivers, and several states make registration by mail simple with a relative's address or a mail forwarding service that costs a few dollars a month. $50 a month feels expensive right up until you compare it to a $2,000 impound bill. Legal, current, and boring is the cheapest way to exist on the road. The goal is to be the van nobody ever has a reason to look at twice. So there it is, 7 hacks that cut the cost of vehicle living in half, learned from people who had no choice but to figure it out, and 5 mistakes that turn a tight budget into a tragedy. Eat off the markdown rack, collect free water, drop the phone bill, park instead of drive, sleep for free, let your own body do the heating, and learn to turn a wrench. Then protect it all by staying fed, staying legal, and treating every parking ticket like the emergency it really is. Whether you're living this life right now, preparing in case a pension or a bad year ever forces the issue, or just want to know your money could stretch if it had to, This knowledge costs nothing and it buys real peace of mind. And if the only thing you do after this video is keep a Terra shell under the seat and set a reminder to check your registration date, the link is in the description and you're already ahead of most people on the road. If this one earned it, hit subscribe. Because next week I'm covering how people living in vehicles earn $300 to $800 a month without a regular job, and the 3 roadside income traps that are actually scams. I'll see you there.